This chapter 5 brings us clearly into Matthew chapter 2, when King Herod is sitting on the throne in Jerusalem, and the Magi, the wise men, arrive from the east, and they ask, "Where is he that is born King of the Jews?" And Herod apparently hasn't been studying his scriptures. So verse 4 says, "When he had gathered all the chief priests and scribes of the people together, he demanded of them where Christ should be born." Where's the Messiah going to be born? What do the scriptures say? And so then they say in verse 5, they said unto him, "In Bethlehem of Judea, for thus it is written by the prophet." You could make a note there. This is Micah chapter 5, verse 2. "And thou, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, art not the least among the princes of Judah, for out of thee shall come a governor that shall rule my people Israel." So that story clear down the road is going to be hearkening back here to chapter 5, verse 2.
And I love how they want to make it very clear which Bethlehem they're talking about. And that's why we have this Ephrata, because this is the southern Bethlehem, the Bethlehem of Judah, not the Bethlehem in the north. And that's very important, because there's somebody else who comes from Bethlehem, and that's David. And so it's part of this Davidic monarchic line that they're tying this to.
And for Matthew, that's a big deal, because he's constantly showing how Jesus is the son of David, the descendant of David, or the rightful heir to the Davidic throne, to fulfill all of those prophecies of the coming Messiah, fulfilling that throne of David.
So we've had all of this hope that, the temple would be rebuilt and there'll be peace and prosperity. And now we hear that there will be a ruler who comes, and we find out what he's going to do. In verse 3, it talks about returning the remnant of the children of Israel. Verse 5, it talks about peace, right? Saving them from their enemies, from the Assyrians, from the land of Nimrod, which is a reference to Mesopotamia. When we get down to verse 8, the word, this is about the gathering of Israel. "The remnant of Jacob shall be among the Gentiles," which again, kind of, I think, reminds us of our time.
Yeah. And adding one more word back in verse 6, "He shall deliver us from the Assyrians." And we don't have Assyrians who have conquered us today, but there are plenty of object lessons associated with the Assyrians for us today. It's a beautiful chapter of hope coming to us through this little babe who is going to be born in Bethlehem of Judea, the least of all of the least likely place. And then to make it even more, he's going to grow up in Nazareth, which is...
It's the backwater
of Galilee.
It's the backwater of Galilee, and Galilee is the backwater of ancient Judea, and Judea is the backwater of the ancient Roman Empire. So when Nathanael says, "Can anything good come from Nazareth?" Yeah. It turns out, yes, Jesus can.
So we've already mentioned verse 8, and so verses 8 through 15, actually, Jesus teaches the Nephites in 3rd Nephi chapter 21. And it's sort of this message about this is what's going to happen in the future. And of course, for the Nephites, he's trying to tell them everything you're doing right now, putting together this book, will be helpful for the Gentiles in the future and for the gathering of Israel. And he's giving them a lot of hope. So we have hope here and hope when he's sharing that as well.